Dear beloved friends, I am Julian, and today we are going live, and most probably it's gonna happen more often now. I'm very passionate about sharing my life and how it is unfolding while I'm allowing myself to live with my soul, to surrender completely into my limitless existence, into my I am presence. This sharing here today is part of the Joyful Freedom Project, which is not just a project, it's fun, it's creativity, and so on. However, I love to play with the names for me personally and also for my expressions. So at the time being, I'm using both names, the Limitless and the Joyful Freedom, when I'm describing the studio that I'm working with and the academy that I'm sharing with. And that's okay. I am one and I'm many, and so are you. So this address here today is just going to be spontaneous. I do not know exact guidelines, what I'm going to talk about. I simply let it flow. I let it flow and I let it flow. I'm going to share very openly, sincerely, honestly about the human part of my journey, because I can go deep within myself and share from the conscious, very directly present part of me. However, this one is also present and you can feel it. But for starters, I want to put my human to the forefront and share with you how, despite me being very committed to myself, to my freedom, to my enlightenment, realization, conscious life, whatever you want to call it, it challenges you. It challenges you a lot. So first of all, let's acknowledge and let's recognize that the whole journey of enlightenment and self-realization is not just fairy tale, is not just roses, but there are also thorns in the way, and that's okay. Because you're accepting your own shadow self. Each and every aspect, each and every energy that you've ever created, it's all coming home. So when I woke up this morning, a lot of pain in my body, physical one, and also my human is kind of annoyed and bored with the whole realization process, because it's been simply taking quite a lot of time. Well, in general, I've allowed so much, so quickly. But if you're looking at it from the human perspective, it just sometimes seems like it's never going to end. And what do I mean by that? That this part of you that needs to surrender, that needs to allow for you to be really free, this part can be really annoyed. And that's also then expressed through certain mental battles, physical struggle, emotional turmoils, and so on. As so many of you know, because I know that all of you watching this address that I'm sharing here with you today are in one way or the other in connection with your soul. You are aware there is more than just the human perception of life. And that is enough. You see, the grand freedom that I'm giving myself once again, although I don't always succeed, so to speak, is that I don't have to try to be perfect. The mind's idea of enlightenment is really crazy. Well, it's understood, but it's really, really not what the whole energetic freedom, with other words, self-realization, is all about. It's not like each and every problem or each and every challenge just goes away, or each and every aspect is just at peace. Yeah, after some time, eventually and essentially, you enter such state of existence when nothing bothers you anymore. But it's all about the shift of perspective, the shift of your perception. And if I look at my stuff that's happening in my life, certain aspects of very challenging physical pains at times, because I'm also integrating diabetes type 1, or not me as the human. The integration is happening from my soul level, but the human goes through the experience of it. And that causes additional challenges to my human self. And my head, when I consciously breathe, all right, let's just make it clear. And let's take a breath together, if you'd like. All right, now I can see the colors are changing. I gotta bring it. Well, I'm just gonna let it be. Maybe a good example. So when you see something that happens, but your mind doesn't like it at first sight, let it be. You know, I've recorded many seminar sessions and all of it. And usually when something challenging for my mind happens, or at least a little bit challenging, it's with a purpose. So I can then make an example during the course or a webcast why it happened. And you see, once again, now the color has returned. That's pretty awesome. So let's just take a few deep breaths, because conscious breathing can always take us back into this inner silence, into this inner stillness. And we can always return into this soft, sweet, compassionate breath. It is the breath of life. It is the breath of you. The breath of your soul. And like that, you return into your I exist, into your I am, into your presence, where you feel that each and every challenge, each and every creation, be that physical one, be that emotional one, be that mental one, it's all just a story. So you let yourself relax and be okay with each and everything that's coming up, each and every emotion, each and every thought, each and every resistance. Like I started explaining before, my head, because it was also physically built in such a way, it literally resists so much. When I sometimes go and consciously breathe, it's like so many aspects and energies would be pushing me down, and I cannot force through it. Well, sometimes I do a little bit, but does that mean that I'm any less, or that I'm any less of the master or enlightened or whatever? Not at all. These are simply the attributes. These are simply the attributes of someone playing in this physical dimension. And I'm going to share from my own personal examples so you can see and resonate with them if you like. We are never perfect, but we can be free. And by seeing things with the eyes of awareness, you realize with your real eyes, there is nothing wrong with anything. And while you allow yourself such shift in perspective and perception, you also allow the shift and the change of the actual energies that you were observing. And certain aspects and lifetimes and expressions, they either integrate and serve you nicely, serve you sweetly, or they leave, they go away. Because there's no more food in your human from which they could feed off. So, allowing yourself to be as fucked up as you are, and at the same time, you can also be aware how much more you are. That you are this limitless being who created the human expression for the sake of experience. You are the grand being who is playing on earth. And yes, for the human part, it can seem very bizarre, very challenging, very annoying at times, just like it does for my human. But I can so tangibly feel in me how there is an enlightened self which I can tangibly come in touch with in myself. You can call it the soul, the limitless, enlightened presence. But there is also the human part who is allowing itself to realize that it is realized entirely. So all the doubts and all the fears, anxiety, it all comes up because you've chosen to see all that you are. And you can be very deep in your consciousness and awareness. I'm saying hello to some of you watching this who are my good friends from some great enlightened circles, so to speak, but we still have things happening in our lives. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop waiting for the illusionary point of enlightenment. Like something is going to be totally okay and fine once this happens. This is mind's idea. Of course, everything I share is my perspective, my view, and my truth in this moment, which can also always change and expand and deepen. But that's what I want to share with you now. And I always invite beings, feel what is true for you, not what is true for me or for someone else. Yes, I'm honored. Okay, just a second. I'm honored and excited and joyful if these sharings and services I offer can help you and serve you, of course. But the essence is that you embrace your inner voice, your inner knowingness, your inner stillness, and you follow your own guidance, your own truth. Other beings are just the expressions of your own self. So it's for you to choose and discern what is right and true for you in this moment, which can also change, and what is not. And it's nothing wrong with it. There's not a grander truth or a lower truth. It gave me so much freedom when I realized even deeper in the last weeks how everything is true. Really, everything is true. For someone who is claiming it and saying it. There is not a better truth or worse truth, because there's so much competition. And yeah, I was part of it for a long time as well. I still have to kind of allow certain aspects that sometimes come up. This hierarchy, there is no such thing. But in the very real illusion, I like this phrase, very real illusions. I might write a book also one day with that title. These very real illusions present themselves as, yeah, you guessed it, very real. And going back into your awareness once again. So you see, it's just a dream. And also letting yourself go crazy at times. For real, why not? I mean, not like crazy. Well, your choice, of course. But letting yourself go beyond the control, out of control, and just simply be the goddamn human that you are also. Not trying to be perfect or free, but letting yourself be free by being all this that's challenging you as well. You own your creations, but you don't have to carry them. But sometimes in the in-between phase, when you're letting yourself be okay with everything as it is, when you're accepting yourself with all that you are, it could be a very useful tool to let yourself be that, at least for moments, to feel it entirely. Because once you embrace it, it also loses the push and the burden and the heaviness. All right, let's take a few deep breaths, please, once again. And we just surrender back into the presence, into the easiness. And yes, indeed, playing with life. I love playing with life, although there are still aspects and challenges. In my perception, in my story, I realized that I enjoy life much more when I start playing with life, when I start expressing together with my soul, and I'm not waiting for the perfect moment. Yes, of course, the deeper you go into yourself, also your creation and the way you create is gonna change and shift naturally. But what? Are you gonna just sit at home and wait? Yes, it's a valid point, and you can look in the air all day and just wait. But that can also cause you a lot of suffering. And I would be the one to know, because I've been doing enlightenments in previous lifetimes with lots of suffering, which also kind of migrated into this lifetime. But in the last year or even more, I've started to allow my enlightenment, my freedom with joy. And that doesn't mean I'm joyful and smiling each and every moment. I'm trying to smile as much as I can. I'm probably, in comparison with the most world, I do a lot. However, also in this period of Corona, because for those of you watching this later, this was the period when the world was kind of stopping, everything relaxed, people were a lot at home, and this can be a beautiful period to go within yourself, to feel yourself, to maybe evaluate what's true for you, what is not. How do you want to continue your life? Because there are different so-called stages where beings are at in their process of allowing their absolute freedom. Because let's be clear, everything is leading you into your absolute freedom. But there are as many ways. Whoa, it's all shaking. Yeah. There are as many ways and journeys and different paths as there are beings on earth and in the whole universe. There is not just only one truth, and what is real for someone, and they can be very enlightened, it doesn't mean it's real for you. So once again, I had to learn that the hard way, because for some time I believed that my truth is the only way. For me, it served. Sometimes with a lot of pain, sometimes with a lot of joy, but still it served me, and it's now leading me entirely into my freedom. But that doesn't mean that that's necessarily the exact way someone else should do it, and that they're going to have the same experience of their realization, enlightenment, or embracing freedom. For sure. And I also have some friends who have allowed it, and they keep on allowing it, because in my opinion, enlightenment is an ongoing process. It's an ever-evolving expansion. It's just the new beginning. Just the new beginning. So, already from their stories and also taking in consideration my own, I see we are really doing it differently. There is some common ground. There are some common guidelines. But you. Okay, one more breath. And this is also the topic I wanted to address today, because I've been seeing it in my human. Okay, I'm going to speak more from my soul self now. My human was going through certain things in last weeks where it was confronted with a deeper doubt who he truly is, and having quite a lot of moments of being in real awareness energetically and kind of feeling no doubt. But then again, the deeper you go into the trust, sometimes the deeper resistance comes up. And that's also okay. Nobody is saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just explaining. But it's time for those who really want to be free to stop doubting themselves and who they really are, because the aspects are going to keep on telling you stories until you are really in trust and energetically in awareness that you are, and nothing else matters. Everything else is going to rearrange, shift, and change. I am the master, period. Let all the reality mirror it back to me. And these stories and challenges that we were explaining in the previous minutes, they are coming back to you to see if you are really standing in this self-love, in this true awareness, in your own mastery. So mastery is not a far distant destination, far off destination, but it is here, and you can own it already, acting, playing with consciousness. And if you ask me, that enables the whole process of self-realization, of divine remembrance, to be much easier in general, much more pleasant and even joyful. Although it can challenge human when it needs to go out of the comfort zones, maybe go and share the things like I share in the videos, create some music, create art, start a new business, whatever. You can play with life, maybe call a friend to have a chat. It can all challenge you, and it's going to try to keep you in your comfort zone. So some would say, yeah, just wait, go deeply within yourself and don't interact. Of course, that's a valid way as well. I'm not saying it's worse or better. What's true for you? I am standing on the principle of playing with life, but also being very aware that I'm hanging around with the right people for me, that I'm cutting off some people or some conversations that were reminding me too much of my old stories. Because I, as the soul, I can share with anyone, but that doesn't mean that my human can, without after effect, share with anyone. So use your own discernment while you're playing with life, while you are allowing your absolute freedom, if you are choosing so. But you wouldn't be part of this video probably if you wouldn't be choosing it, or at least flirting with it. So yeah, this is something that I'm gonna share with the world a lot, because I feel like it's not being mentioned enough, in my opinion. That it's your own way, it's your own journey. Even some grand beings that I know still cling to some grand enlightened masters, truths, and so on, which are absolutely awesome and pure and amazing. But if you take them as your guide, as your main leading energy, you're not embracing for real your own call, your own truth, your own divinity, so to speak. You can use all the support, but it's much different from which space, from which choice in yourself you are using it. And going out of the groups, you can be part of amazing circles and so on. But knowing energetically that you could always go away and that you would be perfect without that as well. Yeah, I become quite passionate in these shows many times. I've recorded a lot of seminars lately, online seminars, which are available at my website. And I've also recorded the masterclass or the master journey, where you are invited to embrace your own truth, your own mastery. And that doesn't mean it's gonna be perfect, but you're becoming more and more aware of all that you are, of all the stories, of all the aspects, and also all the subconscious mechanisms leading you. If there wouldn't be so much of me, so many human stories, so many stories also from previous lifetimes, such deeply ingrained biological imbalances, I would be absolutely free quite a long time ago with my passion and my dedication. But it simply takes some time, because embodied realization and choosing to stay and live with your soul, with your freedom on earth, that's a completely new way and a whole other story. Your new story, your new life. So playing with life is my recipe. I'm also taking a lot of time for myself. Sometimes to breathe with myself, sometimes to let myself be just annoyed as hell with life, going for a walk. But just like today, my body didn't feel exactly excited about living today, about being in life passionately. And I've just chosen that my emotions and my thoughts and my limitations are not going to dictate what I do. And I went and I recorded this because I've been feeling the passion to express it in such way again, even more publicly. And here I am sharing it. And I've got no idea what's going to come out of it, because here I'm letting the creation to unfold naturally and joyfully and playfully. So no expectations is a grand mantra for those who really want to be free. I know it's much easier said than done. But you cannot force your way into the freedom. You cannot force your way into your enlightenment. You cannot force and control and dictate a way into your conscious life. You can sail with clarity and compassion to make it all softer, to make it all smoother, to make it all easier. But it still takes some time. And it takes human who's willing to say yes. I'm willing to allow and to transcend, because sometimes allowing can be very active. It can mean that you stop reacting to certain stories in the old ways. It means that you start expressing as the new being that you are. Your enlightened, realized self is already here. Your master is already here. So it's up to you how much you want to be it. And yes, at a certain point, for those who really choose it, there will be no more separation between the human self and the master self. But while all of this is happening, why not make it extraordinary for yourself, beyond suffering? Because who are you kidding? You are so grand. You are so grand, and you're playing it so limited at moments. I'm also saying it to my human. And in general, I'm not letting myself to stay stuck for a long time, but I'm also taking in consideration the depths of limitations I've been playing in. And it's an invitation for yourself to have the compassion towards yourself also. However, it doesn't have to be an excuse to not expand, to not deepen, to not choose what's really turning you on and bringing you into your natural, authentic self. And the human and the body are included this time. Because many times in the past, when some of us, some of you were allowing the freedom, the enlightenment, it was all about kind of denying the human, leaving the human here and then going into ascension, into your ascended state, into your ascended realms, so to speak. But this time, for those who choose it, it's different. It's about integration. It's about living and existing with all that you are. So it's a new way of enlightenment. It's a new way of conscious life. And some of you who are more new on earth, it might feel very natural to you what I'm explaining, because for those of us who were here for a longer time, this pattern of needing to suffer for realization, for freedom, was very deeply ingrained, because it brought us at times into the freedom. So you see, these aspects come to serve you because they love you so much. Actually, all the aspects love you so much. Even if they serve you with misery, they serve you because you've told them so from certain level of yourself at certain time. So now they need to see the example. They need to see you as the being who you are now, the one who is in connection with the soul, who is in surrender to its enlightened self presence, and who is loving itself so much that they don't have any other choice but to join the new story or go away. And the wisdom is distilled in any case, because you are wisdomizing each and every experience that you've ever had and that you are ever having. Woo! So the topics I wanted to address today were beyond the doubt, but let the doubts serve you also to discern and to really realize in yourself who you are and where you were still playing with limitations, which are not bad, but simply to really show you that you can choose in yourself and that you can allow in yourself that you are done. And then it might take some time, but once you are done, you are done, and it's gonna happen. Then we were speaking about playing with life. Yes, playing with life. Because even if you are sitting in your home in your misery, you are still playing with life. But maybe the human part is not enjoying this experience so much because the soul doesn't care. The soul is willing to play with you anyway, but it's going to challenge all of your limitations and all of the aspects that you've created for the sake of experience of being a limited human. So now the limited is becoming limitless, or the limited is remembering that it is limitless. You are all that you are, but at the same time, you don't have to carry anymore the things that you don't want to. Okay, let's breathe some more and let's integrate now. Let's embody all the energy, all the wisdom, all the consciousness that was shared here. And I'm also letting you know that you were co-creating this webcast, this energy transmission together with me. So thank yourself and please feel into your own truth, into your own wisdom. not into what I'm saying. Although I'm trying to be as objective as it's possible when I'm kind of expressing all this conscious information, because I'm expressing also things that I'm feeling in the energy field of all those who are watching it now or watching it hour later. However, there is no such thing as objective. And also, if you choose that you would like to take advantage of some additional services that I offer with my academy, I will keep on reminding you to figure it out in yourself. Of course, one talk with me can change a lot for you, let's be clear, because in a way you are speaking with yourself. And I can highlight, I've got this grand gift to see many aspects, many stories, many limitations that people are still playing with, and I can show them where some things are still happening as much as they're allowing me, so they can on their own then transcend it. And this consciousness is the answer, not my consciousness. My consciousness is the answer for me, but the consciousness that you're feeling as the mirror, which is your own consciousness. I serve in a way as the mirror of freedom, as the mirror of divinity, as the mirror of awareness and consciousness. And I'm also serving in such a way to my human self and to my body and all of it. So yeah, you can explore the webpage. You'll see there are seminars available, online sessions, courses, also some private sessions. And in this moment, I feel like sharing them, at least for certain time, because I'm preparing some other projects now, which are gonna offer me even a newer version of my personal work. But for now, it feels right, it feels nice, and I would be glad to serve and chat with you in such a free, energetic way, because I've got a lot of experiences, a lot of wisdom to share from now, from this lifetime, and from many lifetimes before. And if you're feeling a yes in your body, in yourself, why not listen to it? I've recorded a short audio a few days ago when I said, like, if I'm feeling a yes with my consciousness, with my being, with my body, and my mind is saying no, then it could be a beneficial thing to continue and follow my knowingness. But when I'm feeling a yes in my mind, but I'm feeling a no from my consciousness and soul and body, then it could be useful to discern if this really serves me still, or if I should just let it go, or at least for some time. These are these practical tricks that can be so handy in this process of discovering yourself. And I've dedicated my whole life to it. In each and every area, and everything else that's still kind of bothering me and triggering me is going to be resolved for me in the appropriate divine timing. So letting myself be imperfect human, not trying to be the master, not trying to be free, but at the same time also following my inner knowingness, expressing as the master, being the master, and being free. It's all act of your own self, of your own consciousness. So why wouldn't you act and play in the way that really turns you on, that's really joyful from you, from your deeper calling? All right, so the safety goes away in such case, but you actually become absolutely safe while you are letting yourself be entirely vulnerable. And of course, allow some time, allow patience, and love yourself beyond anything. Love yourself beyond anything. Because when you love yourself as human, which simply means that you accept yourself completely, without judgment, you also accept the judgment towards judgment. That's a good one. and you let it be. You observe it, but you don't focus on it. You just let it flow, no matter what the aspects and stories are screaming, are bitching about, are whining about. Yeah, have the compassion, but also the awareness that they are not real in their essence, and let them have their own truth. But you own your own truth and know who you essentially are. Thank you so much. I am Julian Lairosius, the one who is allowing itself to be entirely free and who is openly exposing and sharing its own journey so it can be its own human journey, so it can be of service to all of you as well. See you, beloved friends. Bye bye.